only things that are certain in this world: death, change, taxes. And if you're willing to lay your life on the line for a payday, you'd probably prefer if the government didn't claim it all, leaving you with just pocket change. UFC 312, let's talk about it. If you want to take a little look, have a little peruse of the Sydney card, you may find yourself underwhelmed. And the 45% income tax that the Aussie government stripped from any fighter's payday may have something to do with it. It would certainly cause any big name fighters who have their choice of where in the world they want to fight to take pause. Fly halfway around the world, potentially fight in someone else's backyard, have to leave your family and friends and uproot and pay for travel and board, and there's all the visa issues and the organisational stuff, just to go home with about half of what you worked for. Why should they? And take another look. There are a few exciting Aussie prospects on the card, and personally, I love a card of tryhards. But even the big name locals, the ones whose kids go to the better schools, or, their buck generally goes towards the upkeep of the paradise to which they've become accustomed. I don't know, maybe the taxes go on an invisible barrier keeping all the fucking spiders out or something. Even them, to whom perhaps fighting in front of a home crowd is worth more than 45% of their purse, they all seem to have also jumped onto a ship and sailed off to fight in distant lands. We've just seen Izzy. Rob was fairly recently. JDM is set to fight on the London card. Hooker fighting Gaethje just one pay-per-view later. Usyk, Ulberg, both set to fight in March. It seems as though any of these crowd pleasers could have been booked for 3-1-2 instead. Instead, the biggest fight that even has a local in is Justin Taffer, who is entertainment, but who hasn't won a fight since September 2023, and he's fighting a complete UFC newcomer. Now, I like this fight. They both have heavy hands, and the newbie has a wild 9-inch reach advantage. But why would you spend numbered card dollar to get a seat? Or even pay for the pay-per-view? Plus, that newbie was getting touched up on the Contender Series, so if your only window into his skills is that, probably less enthused. And then you get to the co-main and the main, not an Aussie in sight, and well, meh. The first fight between Sean Strickland and Dricus du Plessis was super competitive, so it could save it for us. But I feel like DDP is going to adapt to the Strickland he saw first time around, and it's just going to be a more definitive win for him this time, because Sean Strickland can't adapt, he can only jab and teep. And then Suarez versus Wei Li. Suarez is a great fighter, don't get me wrong, but she's only had one win in the last 18 months, and that doesn't usually catapult you towards a title fight. Like I said though, loads of prospects, they're usually trying to prove themselves, that's usually where the great fights happen. I won't talk about them all, but it's worth mentioning that Ilia Topuria's brother is making his debut on the card, and he's fighting one of Volk's training partners. Topuria has power like his brother, but he has to work hard to get to that 135 mark. His natural weight class would be 145, and for obvious reasons, he's not doing that. And as a result, or maybe it's nothing to do with it, but his cardio looks trash. Now Colby, trash on the feet, but he's a gritty grappler, which would have been more of an advantage if he wasn't coming in on short notice, but I'm still gonna pick him. He always makes guys work hard on the ground, and I think he can wear Topuria out. What do you think of the card? Am I right, or am I just salty because Josh Coolabout's not on it? Let me know in the comments.